Hello again, and welcome to Speaking with the Principal. I'm Ron Strumensky, principal of Wakefield Memorial High School, and it's a pleasure to be able to come into your home once again. This series of programs is designed for me to be able to communicate with parents and guardians, members of the community, and interested parties who want to help and assist in the promotion of good schooling. We'll be doing approximately 2 shows a month, and we welcome your participation. How can you participate? By writing to me here at Wakefield Memorial High School, 60 Farm Street, and telling me the kinds of things that you would like me to bring to you in terms of information. If you have topics, concerns that you'd like me to discuss on this program, I surely will be happy to do that. In addition, if there are some particular people within the high school population that you would like me to bring to this program, I'll also be happy to do that in the future. Today's program is basically divided into 3 parts. When last we spoke, I began to discuss with you the 1997-98 goals and objectives for Wakefield High School. Today, we'll complete that analysis. Second, I want to share with you some oft-asked questions and answer them for you. Then to talk about some things that are up and coming and some congratulatory messages to some outstanding students who have achieved notoriety here at the high school in a positive vein. No organization can exist without well thought out, written goals and objectives. I mentioned that to you when last we met. Wakefield High School is no different. The major goal of the high school administration and the faculty this year is to work hard on the restructuring process of our schedule and our offerings here in the high school. As you know, and as I've spoken to you before, Wakefield High School was one of 11 schools in the second year of the Educational Reform Bill grants that allowed us a fairly substantial amount of money to investigate and put together the new schedule that we are now experiencing here at the high school. Our job is to continue to monitor that, to talk with student representatives and faculty and other administrators to make it the best possible schedule and the best possible curriculum that we can offer here in Wakefield. So as the year goes on, we will continue with what we call staff development, involving our teachers and actually sending them back to class to learn how to do their jobs better in the longer scheduled time. I also mentioned to you last time I spoke to you about the high-stakes testing, which is also a part of the Educational Reform Bill of 1993. High-stakes testing means that the legislature made a decision that in the end, meaning when all curriculum frameworks, what students should be able to do are designed, tests will be developed, and students ultimately will have to pass those tests in order to receive a high school diploma. The projection is 2001 for those tests. During this year, we will be doing some sample testing again of students at Wakefield High School, as all students in the state will be experiencing, beginning in November with trial questions based on English composition. The first week of November, you can expect that students in grades 9 and 11 will be participating in 2 45-minute sessions designed by the state-contracted test makers to design the nature of the kinds of questions that will be asked in the high-stakes testing down the road. The composition-type questions will require students, depending on grade level, to do some reading and to write about it, or to do some expository writing at the grade 9 level, but more on that in a future program. One of the things that was of great concern to all of us, the Attleboro School Committee, Central Administration, and teachers, was the number of students who had left Wakefield High School 2 years ago. On October 14th, Tuesday night, October 14th, Nancy Millicello, the Director of Guidance, and I will appear before the Wakefield School Committee to give a report on last year's situation. And I am pleased to tell you that the results from last year are very encouraging. So if you can be at the October 14th school committee meeting, or you can watch it on TV. You can be first to hear those results as we give that report. Another thing that I am continuing discussions on, and there is a good deal of interest in, is our students' involvement in community service learning. The Wakefield High School School Improvement Plan calls for us to become involved in more community service learning. And I just yesterday learned that once again, Wakefield Memorial High School has received a grant to continue our work in the incorporation of community service learning within the curriculum here at the high school. I would be very interested in members of the community who have ideas about how community service learning can be effective and can aid our students at Wakefield High School. Through our school council, we will be discussing this during the course of the year. Ms. Jane Porter, who is an adjustment counselor here at the high school, is the chairman of our team that will be looking at community service learning. And I think that the community in the very near future will see Wakefield High School students very much more involved in community service. I say much more involved because I'm already proud of the level of participation of our student body in all kinds of community service with the elderly, working as volunteers at hospitals, going to soup kitchens, etc. The question of whether or not a community service involvement should be a graduation requirement for all students in the high school will also be a topic of conversation within the next year or year and a half. But in any event, there is pretty unanimous agreement that community service is an important part of a young person's education in America, and Wakefield will be moving more and more in that direction. Part of the grant that we received under educational reform for the restructuring of Wakefield High School involved surveying administrators and students to find out about their attitudes about school life in all of its respects in what is called the University of Illinois study. We are now awaiting the results of our second survey, and as soon as those are compiled and brought to you, I will be presenting those results to you on this program. And finally, the student ranking system that was so much discussed last year by members of the class of 1997 is the seventh goal for Wakefield High School this year. We will be involving students and faculty and our school council again in a discussion of whether or not the ranking system at Wakefield High School needs to be modified in some way, adjusted in some way, or should it remain the same. The final goal on the list of goals for 1997-98 deals with the issue of the student ranking system here at the high school. You may recall there was a good deal of discussion at the end of last year among graduating seniors as to what the ranking system should consist of and how it should be gauged. This year I'll be putting together a committee through our school council, our faculty, and our student council to look at whether or not the ranking system needs modification, total change, or whether it should stay the same. And I'd also welcome your input during the course of the next several months in terms of your attitudes and opinions about student ranking. One of the other areas that the school committee got involved in and had a good deal of discussion about was the question of what happens to the graduates of Wakefield High School. It's an excellent question. It's one I think that every school person needs to be concerned about. But how do we go about finding out what happens to our graduates? What has happened to, for example, members of the class of 1993, those who have been out of high school for 4+ years? Were their experiences, if they went on to junior colleges or 4-year colleges or the workplace, successful? How do they feel now about their preparation at Wakefield High School? How do they feel about their involvement in activities? How do they feel in general about their experiences here? And what can they tell us that can help us improve? The school council, at the direction of the Wakefield School Committee and the superintendent of schools, is now involved in designing a survey that later on this year will be mailed to all members of the class of 1993. It will be awfully interesting to find out what they're doing, how well they're doing, and how they feel about the preparation that they had here at the high school. We'll share those results with you also once we have them. I want to mention and congratulate some students for some outstanding performances at this time. Members of our senior class who received merit commendation, meaning that last year through the SAT program, they were among the top 5% of the scorers. That's an incredible number. There are 35,000 commended students in the Merit Scholarship Program, and there are well over 1 million who take the test, so that you can see that this group is a distinguished group of scholars. Students at the high school who were counted among the commended students are Evan Anderson, Scott Leahy, Amy LeClaire, Ainsley McCall, Lauren Murphy, Matthew Tibbetts, and Christina Yen. And I want to extend my congratulations to them and their parents on the wonderful performance as commended merit scholars. That kind of commendation will go a long way to helping students into the colleges of their choice. I also want to mention that Lauren Murphy, who is a commended scholar, recently received an award from the National Council of Teachers of English as one of the outstanding student writers in the United States. So congratulations to Lauren. And also, recently we had an election among our student body to elect 5 members of the student community as student representatives to the Wakefield School Committee. And I'm pleased to announce that the following students, and there were 14 who vied for this honor, the following 5 students will be representing the student body at the school committee meetings. Evan Anderson, a member of our senior class, Timothy Cook, a sophomore, Jillian Hoyt, a senior, and juniors Lisa McCarver and Erica Pisatoro. So I congratulate them for their success, and I also congratulate those who were willing to give of their time but were not successful in this round of student elections. And finally, some oft-asked questions about the high school, for which quite often people don't have the right answers or don't have an answer at all. The first question, and I've asked even students in the school, how many students attend Wakefield High School? And if I were to poll students who are right in this studio, I wonder how close they could come to that actual figure. The October 1st figure of the number of students in Wakefield High School is 974. Raise your hand if you came within 50 of that. Also, another question that I'm asked quite often is what's the attendance rate at Wakefield High School? Meaning, what percentage of students are in school every day over the course of a year? And I'm pleased to report to you that for the 4th year in a row, student attendance at this high school has increased to better than 95% on a daily basis, meaning that better than 19 out of 20 students who are enrolled in Wakefield High School are in attendance on a daily basis. We should all be pleased and proud of that, and I thank parents for their help in having students in school on a regular basis. It's so essential to academic success. And a couple of calendar items for you, upcoming things. On October 22nd, the Odyssey of the Mind program, which was so successful in Galvin Middle School last year. We're going to be introducing an option for Odyssey of the Mind for high schools. Any high schoolers who are interested in becoming involved, there'll be an organizational meeting in the cafeteria on October 22nd. So if your sons or daughters want to be involved in that, 2:15, October 22nd. Also, the cheerleaders dance coming up on October 25th, 7:30 to 11, and a college fair at Reading High School. Please make note, there'll be lots and lots of college representatives at Reading High School at 7 o'clock on October 27th. So I hope to see you there. And I hope you've enjoyed the information. Again, I remind you, write to me, Ron Stromensky, 60 Farm Street at Wakefield High School, if you have some topics or you have some ideas for programs you'd like to see me bring to you. Until next time, have a pleasant evening.